It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
Welcome to Memorial Day weekend, crew. Everybody's here for Test Miles. The usual suspects are here to service you this weekend. Sean Walker, student, driver, not student driver. And he's also my faithful television producer. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How's your Memorial Day weekend going?
It's good. It just started today. I had to retake a midterm, so I spent all day yesterday in college or at school.
And the rest of us did it 20 years ago.
I know. I'm late to the game like
the
usual.
party.
Yeah, it's my life.
And Brad Boyer is here. He is the grandfather of the show, father to two 5-year-old twins, lucky limousine marketing manager of decency.
Decency?
Yeah. You keep us in line.
I do. 20 years ago, I wish I went to school only 20 years ago.
And you know everything about cars pre-Civil War, right?
I do. Yeah, whatever you need to know.
Also, Andrew Awesome is here.
Hello.
He produces this radio show. He keeps us in check. He doles out the cars for the week, tells us what we can test drive, and generally keeps everything in order here. He's also a professional passenger. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, sir. Ironic, I don't drive, although I hold the keys to everything.
Ooh, there's a whole joke and a whole way to go with that.
Yeah, and I just heard what he gave both of you guys this week. I'm a little disappointed.
Well, you get to go into the garage like the rest of us and can see what's down there. You just need
But
to
he
go up.
tells me no.
The back of Brad's hands is red and pink.
Oli's here. Oli, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Good morning.
How's the test driving going with Andrew?
It's going well.
It's not going, Nick. That's the point, Nick. It's not going. I'm catching a couple hours with my girlfriend.
And what about driving?
That's what I'm doing, is driving.
All right, we got a lot on the show today. It's Memorial Day weekend. Memorial Day weekend is the getaway. It's become an American tradition to get onto the road. And according to the American Automobile Association, more than 36 million people will hit the roads this holiday weekend and drive more than 50 miles apiece to another destination. Also, grilling is a big part of today's holiday. It wasn't part of the original Memorial Day, but we all get out there to the barbecue and do all the holiday fixtures. It's the second most popular holiday, by the way, after the 4th of July, for being outside and having fun. And, of course, remembering those that served our country. Thank you very much for all your service. So, if you're going to find the perfect road in Oregon, what would it be? Now, most people would answer today would be a good day to drive up and down the scenic highway and the gorge, but that's a very, very obvious go-to answer. We know that we live in one of the most beautiful areas in the world. In fact, just keep in mind a lot of things about this area that you may not know. First of all, there is a lot of places to see from behind the wheel because Oregon has the most scenic byways and tour routes of any state in the union, if you do it mile per mile. Also keep in mind that these routes may not be traveled as well during the summer as in other states because weather conditions can change very quickly and there's a lot of roadworks. I did find out something you can do to make sure you avoid all those hazards if you're going out for a trip today. Go to tripcheck.com and put in your route. It'll tell you if the route you're choosing is open and if there's gas stations along the way, and also making sure that there is no obstructions, anything on the route.
Do they give you the electrical charging areas as well?
I don't know. I haven't checked that part.
You should do that.
I should go and check that. What would you guys choose if you were going to do a historic drive today?
I just drove up the gorge and did that scenic highway, but I head over to the Bridge of the Gods and come back on the Washington side on the 14.
That's always good.
And that's a great one. But there's another road that's great. It's in Lynn County, and it's the Covered Bridge route. And there's 5 or 6 different covered bridges along the way, and it's a beautiful, 50-mile route. In Oregon, there's 53 covered bridges. Did you know that?
No.
We need to add that to the thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bridges of
there was one where
Lynn County.
There was one where I used to live down there off of 136th as you come off of Foster and go up Deerdorf. There's a covered bridge there. That's the only one I can think of in Portland. Is there another one in Portland?
There's I know that there's a couple up in the Vancouver Ridgefield area.
Right, but that wouldn't be Portland then. That would be Vancouver Ridgefield.
Portland area.
The metropolitan area. Any other guys? Any other scenic routes that you like to travel?
I'm the one that I'm gonna go on. Marine Drive, 10 o'clock, and no headlights. So much fun.
And no headlights.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why you don't have a license.
It's so fun. It's so exhilarating with the wind in your hair and you can't see nothing.
When you're bald, what hair?
Wait,
still feels good.
You should. Wait, you don't drive, so what is no headlights means in a bike?
Yeah, Nick, you make your own joke, like a Vespa, something. It'd be fun that way. Okay, it's fun for me.
That's
what I'm gonna do.
Sean, what have you got?
I like the back roads out on the Battleground going up to Mount St. Helens. I mean, there's some nice windy roads and great scenic up there.
And then you end up in a really interesting thing to see, which is Mount St. Helens.
Exactly.
It's a great place to see. Oli, you got any routes?
I'm always a fan of 101 if you hit the beach and drive down the coastline.
That is a good drive. I also tell you it's really good in California, too, if there wasn't for those people that don't know how to drive.
There's a little side road. If you're heading out 26 and you're going to go to like Cannon Beach, take the cutoff. It's the Timber Road cutoff. It's about a 3 or 4 mile stretch, and then that'll ultimately take you to Tillamook. But it is great fun and not very well traveled. So you can
that sounds
take
like
your
a
Ferrari
good
out.
little road. Yeah, really. It's a nice windy road up there. A few byways that might be good for a drive today. Historic Columbia River Highway, scenic route, of course, is about 70 miles. 3 to 5 hours for a drive. Hell's Canyon Scenic Byway, that's about a bit further. It's 208 miles. It'll take you about 7 to 8 hours to do. Also, I would suggest the Oregon Outback Scenic Byway. That's 171 miles, or even the Umpqua River Scenic Byway, which is about 66 miles. That'll take you 3 to 5 hours. Travel Oregon has a lot of these driving routes on it. So if you want to go to Travel Oregon and look it up, you can find out exactly where you could drive today to celebrate your Memorial Day. All right, let's take a first stab at what we're driving this week. Andy, tell me what cars you handed out from the garage.
Well, I gave you the Acura RDX, and I gave you two because you were being a greedy monkey. You also got the GMC Yukon.
Okay.
Sean got the Honda Accord, and Brad got the Fiat 500L.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about the cars that I drove real quick. The Acura RDX, I've become more and more of a fan of Acura. They have done such a great job, and they're not very pronounced as a car company. In fact, they're not what we would call a dominant force in the car field, but they are doing a really good job with some of their vehicles. Now, the MSRP for the 2014 Acura RDX starts around $35,400. You can get it up to around $39,000. Now, this is particularly the V6, the 3.5-liter V6. The drivetrain of this, front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, 6-speed automatic transmission, 273 horsepower, get about 20 to 28 miles a gallon, 20 city, 28 on the highway. Great Bluetooth navigation, and also good heated seats. That's one of the things I like. But one of the things about Acura that is really awesome is their super handling all-wheel drive system. I will tell you that I am having a hard time finding a system that I like more than this as far as the all-wheel drive is, because it definitely does push the power to the wheel that needs it. The torque steer is there so you can corner at speeds, and you can feel the torque steer. You can feel everything, the torque system kick in, but you can't actually it doesn't feel like it's altering your drive. So those are a few of the things that I really like about the car. Sean, tell me a little about the Honda that you drove.
I drove the Accord, and it was the 4-cylinder, and I really enjoyed this car after having it for a week. It got great fuel economy. There's so much great tech in it that it's hard to explain all of it for a $30,000 car. I actually see why they're one of the leaders in the segment.
I think if we look at figures for the Honda Accord, you will find that it's definitely the number one selling car in California, but it's also, they're now claiming the number one selling sedan in America if you don't count fleet sales.
Yes.
Because I think Camry beats it on fleet sales.
Yes, and it's right there with Camry, but one of the things I like, but it kind of got a little weird, is their blind spot camera that they have, because they have a camera that's under their right rear view or right side view mirror.
It's called lane watch.
Lane watch.
Yeah.
But basically, when you turn your turn signal on, it actually shows what's on the side in a video in your center console, so you don't have to try to look and get around the pillars and maybe miss a car out there. So it's great. I'm actually posting a video of it so people can go to our TestMiles right now and actually see what it looks like.
TestMiles.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter at TestMiles. We're going to take a quick break and come back talking to Daryl Harrison from VW. He's going to tell us all about the new Volkswagen Golf. This car celebrating 40 years in the United States, 30 years for the GTI. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101. I'm Nick Miles. More of the show to come.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome to a Memorial Day weekend. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to Test Miles. We're talking about some of the cars that we have driven this week. Brad, you had the Fiat 500L.
I had this, and I went into this thinking, I love the outside of the car, but I'm curious if it really is that much bigger than its than the hatchback. That 500 hatchback was pretty small, but it's 2 feet longer and 6 inches higher, so it was substantially larger inside. So it felt a lot like a Mini, and I think the Countryman is its biggest competitor. This actually is a little more nimble and quicker than the base Countryman, but the turbocharged engine for the Countryman kind of beats it up a little bit. This is a 1.4-liter turbo four-cylinder, 160 horsepower, so around town it was fine. But if you get it out onto the highway, you load it up with anybody, it's a little sluggish. But wait, there's 4 different versions of this, and the top end is the lounge. And the best feature on this is the Beats sound system. So you put the Sirius radio station on, classic vinyl or something.
Didn't somebody just buy Beats? Weren't they just sold? I think they just
Jay-Z or something?
Harman Kardon just bought them, I think.
Close. Oh, who did buy them? It was just on the news. I wanted to say it's Apple. Apple bought them.
Oh, Apple bought them.
Apple bought them
All
for
right.
$3.2 billion.
Apple bottom jeans?
Yes, and boots with the fur.
So what is there? There's this 4x4 version of this car too, isn't there?
They don't have an all-wheel drive version of this car
That's
yet.
coming.
That's coming. The Countryman is available in the all-wheel drive.
The Mini, but there was supposed to be Fiat was supposed to come out
It's
with
supposed
this sort of all-wheel drive version of the vehicle. My feeling about this car is I don't like the look, but I love everything else about it. I think they lost a lot of the 500 look in it.
They did. I mean, just by extending it. But the price range is less than the Countryman. But I'm interested to hear about the Golf because I think like that and the different versions of that, maybe a TDI version.
It's hard to know if the Golf is actually a competitor. We're going to be talking about the VW Golf here. The Golf is a compact car, of course, produced by German manufacturer Volkswagen since 1974, so it's 40 years. You remember the first one, Brad?
I think I worked on the press launch on that.
The rest of us weren't born when the first Golf hit the United States. Historically, the Golf is VW's one of their best-selling vehicles. It actually was supposed to replace the Beetle initially when it first came out. That was the idea behind the Golf, but it's been a super popular car, even though VW may have not known what to call it always in the United States.
I believe it was supposed to be like the Golf, like a Golf Wind.
Oh, well,
it was named after a wind.
Let's find out from the man who knows. Daryl Harrison is joining us on the phone from VW. Hi, Daryl. Oh, did we not get Daryl?
He should be there.
Andy, work your magic. There we go. Daryl, can you hear us now?
I can hear you.
There you go. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You're one of our favorite people, so we love to talk to you all the time. Tell me about this new VW Golf.
Yes, it's our 7th generation. As I think you just mentioned, Golf is Volkswagen's best-selling product globally. So obviously, from a brand perspective, it's a big deal for us, and for the U.S., it's definitely a big deal. This car coming out with the GTI, actually, cars are arriving at dealerships now, is larger than the outgoing model. It's lighter than the outgoing model. It's much more fuel efficient, and it's even more versatile. Not to mention the fact that we're going to offer a couple of additional models in the Golf family. e-Golf, which will be sold in a number of states initially, including Oregon, at the end of this year, the Golf Sport Wagon, and, of course, the venerable GTI and Golf TSI and TDI. So we'll have a number of Golf models and a lot of options.
One of the things I like is we've always had to wait maybe 18 months since the launch of an initial, let's say, the Mark 6 until the GTI was available. But you guys are coming out the gate with the GTI this time around, right?
That's correct. Yeah, GTI will be the first in the Golf family to hit dealer showrooms. As I mentioned, they're actually starting to hit showrooms now. Followed relatively closely by the Golf TSI, which is the Golf with our brand new 1.8 turbo engine, and the Golf TDI in August of this year.
So you have this new, is it MQB platform? Is that what it's called?
That's correct. That's correct. It stands for Modular Transverse Matrix, which is essentially a toolkit. It's a brand new platform for us. The GTI will be the first product in the Volkswagen lineup to offer that platform here in the United States. What it allows us to do is allows us to standardize certain processes, to speed up product development. But in addition, we've been able to achieve significant weight savings, about 80 pounds at most across all Golf products, which is pretty huge. Allows us to come to market more quickly with new technologies, new powertrains, and in fact, the platform actually allows us to plug in a number of different powertrain and drivetrain options. Hence the reason why we will be seeing an e-Golf, a plug-in electric at the end of the year, in addition to our gas models.
Now, I've driven the GTI, the gasoline, the diesel, and the E, and I will tell you, my heart is still with the diesel. I absolutely adore the diesel, especially because of the fuel economy. What are we talking about fuel economy on the diesel, Daryl?
Our initial numbers are looking at about 42 miles per gallon on the highway. We actually haven't finalized the EPA numbers for the dual clutch automatic version of the Golf TDI, but we'll have that probably in the next couple of weeks. One thing to mention about the Golf TDI is that for this seventh generation, the 2015 model will actually come in $3,000 less than the outgoing model.
Wow.
So that obviously making the clean diesel price of entry for Golf much, much lower, which is a big news for us.
And you guys sell a ton of diesels up here, right? I mean, it's a big mix for your product line.
That's correct, yeah. About 54% of all Volkswagen sold in Oregon are clean diesel. And we're looking at trends over the last few years, demand for diesel has gone up tremendously. If you look at April sales nationally, TDI clean diesel accounted for about 31% of all of our sales nationwide. Passat, huge winner when it comes to diesel. About 42% of Passat TDIs were clean diesel. So if you look at what's hot in our lineup right now, clean diesel definitely is hot. And we expect that number to continue to grow.
I'm absolutely in love with it. I think it's a fabulous car. Now, I would tell you that this vehicle is also going to be a major part of the World Cup when it comes up too as well. Daryl, thanks so much for joining us. It's always great to have you on the show, and hopefully we'll have you back soon to talk about more. Daryl Harrison, who is the product guy for VW, talking about the 2014 Golf. I'm Nick Miles, listening to Test Miles. Happy Memorial Day.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with TestMiles.com. Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at TestMiles.com.
Celebrating a Memorial Day weekend, I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101. We're talking about car stuff today. The Indianapolis 500 being run right now, Bradley. Are you keeping an eye on the TV screen?
I am. I'm really nostalgic about the 500. I remember watching it as a kid with my dad, and it has changed over the years because we're used to the classic names like Andretti and Unser and Sneva and Mears and Foyt and all those guys. But what I really loved, and it's funny getting into radio now, but Jackie Stewart, Chris Economaki, the voices of the Indy 500, and how it resonated. And I guess it's because we don't have as many choices, but this is ABC's 50th year of broadcasting the Indy 500.
Wow.
And they have 92 cameras this year, and it's broadcast to 197 countries.
And, of course, Fox 59 in Indianapolis is one of my stations, too, so it's very close to my heart.
Now, have you ever been? That is on my bucket list. I've had a chance a couple of times, but I've passed on doing it just for logistic reasons.
Going to the race itself. You know, the interesting thing about it is we have such a huge staff that covers the race. They don't need me.
No.
They don't need some guy that specializes in knowing about new cars. They want their race car team on this one.
Yeah, I've read things where people in Indianapolis refer to themselves as what section of the racetrack they sit in. We're A53. We're the Johnsons, A53, or whatever it is. It's just that ingrained. And Jim Neighbors, I guess, it's going on now, but sang the whatever dumb song they sing back there for that, the indie song or.
They don't think this is part of their life. It's not a dumb song.
I know.
Talk about television, by the way. If you happen to have NBC Sports on your TV dial, which if you're in the Comcast region is, I think you can get it on 732 or some areas it's on channel 32 as well. You can watch my special on the New York Auto Show that's airing all this weekend, and the cars that I report on. And you'll also might notice if you look very carefully that Peter from Mobile West is in that show too. So there's a few comments from him as well. He's one of our fine sponsors. So we have this Project Discovery that we're doing. We take a 2002 Land Rover Discovery and in prep to see if we're any good and we can get a SEMA car together, we've decided to renovate the vehicle. We're doing it from top to bottom. That includes getting it mechanically sound because it is a car that's 12 years old, and also we're going to have it wrapped. We're going to have Mobile West put a new stereo system in there driven by an iPad, high-end Italian stereo system. Entertainment system. We're going to do the interior. We're going to do the exterior. We're going to have that wrapped and made all pretty. We're going to put dog stuff in there so it's dog transportable. And a good friend of the show is joining us in the studio. Brian Socius here from Certified Automotive Repair in Salem. Brian, you have had the car for a couple of weeks now, and you had some bad news for us, didn't you?
Yeah, it's checked out pretty well for the most part mechanically. The one thing we did find was that you had a blown head gasket on one side.
Nick, you would have the blown head gasket.
Yeah, I did something to it. I'm sure it was me that did something to it. So we're getting that repaired. What else did you find when you went over the car?
You know, like I said, the car checked out pretty fine. The only thing we found that was not working properly was the rear windshield wiper motor was blown. We ordered a new one. The arm for that was broken. We ordered a new one of those. Other than that, the car checks out.
I think actually I probably broke that arm as well, because what happens with those motors, first of all, I'm sad to say that that age of Land Rover, well, British cars in general don't have the best electrics history. No. And no, I'm telling you, Lucas Electrics were not one of the best car companies to do it. So with my Land Rover that we got for this project, you would hit the button, and it's the same actually with the column windshield wipers. You hit it, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Then the windshield wipers would kick in. You know, it could be up to like 15 seconds for things to start. So it's kind of one of the things. So I think what happened with that rear windshield wiper is because the motor was going, it got stuck halfway, and I got fed up with it in the rear view mirror. So I just went and pulled it down, and that probably was what broke it.
Yeah, it kind of looks like somebody jerked it.
My hand is being raised in the studio right now. I manhandled the car. Now, what do you think of the general condition of the vehicle? Because it's got about 100,000 miles in it, right?
You know, considering the miles, it's in really good shape. It's actually been a pleasure to work on it. So
yeah, it runs pretty good. Now we've been having to fill it up with water every so often because obviously the radiator gets low, and that's the head gasket.
That's the head gasket. We pressure tested it with about 12 to 15 pounds of pressure in the system, and that's when the leak.
When you notice the leak on it,
right?
Now, what happens with replacing head gasket? What have you done? What have you got to do?
Intake comes off. All the pretty much everything on the top end comes off to get to the heads. So,
and then you send the heads out to a machine shop, right?
Machine shop, right?
And they just remachine the whole thing.
They're going to resurface everything and pressure test the valves to make sure nothing's leaking, but they look good. Visually, everything looked fine.
It does.
Yeah.
The interior needs a little work, though, doesn't it?
You know, you say that, but actually the interior didn't look too bad. The driver's seat had a little tear, but overall, I said the condition is pretty nice.
The 2 inches of dog hair on the inside, though, is probably
I
need to vacuum that.
I overlooked that.
I actually, one of the things that we've talked about is because we're using this vehicle for a sort of a dog transportation vehicle. That's kind of the design behind it. Is that maybe we want to take carpets out and put something different on the inside so it's easy to vacuum, and maybe sort of removable Gore-Tex seats so you could take them and hose them down or something like that.
Right.
There's some of the ideas too. Now, the fuel economy, is that affected by the head gasket going? Because I mean, this thing cost me $100 to put in, fill it up with gas.
Shouldn't affect that. No.
No. So the only thing that really I would notice is the amount of water leaking from it.
Right, and eventually that would become a gross leak, and that would affect the drivability of the car. Would start overheating and whatnot. So
Well, I think it does overheat, but that's partly because of the
it
water
is.
getting low
Yep.
and stuff in the car. All right, tell me a little bit about Certified Automotive Repair, since you're part of the Project Discovery now. So you are actually located in Salem. Whereabouts?
We are in South Salem. We sit back behind the Spinnaker Lake area and just off of 22nd Street Southeast. And we have 6 bays and 4 techs in the shop. Have my shop manager who also doubles as a tech at times. And then I have a service advisor who's also a master tech up front. And myself, I do mostly administrative, and every now and then I'll turn a wrench for the most part. But the guys really don't like me in the shop too much. So
No.
I try to stay out of
Mechanics
their way.
don't like any managers, but you're a car guy through and through, right?
Oh yeah, love the cars.
I have to relay a fabulous story, which is one of my favorite stories about you. Is that you've had 3 Mustangs now, right?
That's correct.
And you basically went from top to bottom and refurbished these Mustangs.
Yes.
And redid them. So the one I'm gonna talk about. The one in particular was it
69.
69 Mustang.
Yeah.
So Brian takes a 69 Mustang and completely redoes it from top to bottom. And what color was it? A cherry red, was it?
No, it
Oh,
was actually a midnight blue.
midnight blue. The one before that was the cherry, with the red.
The one after that was cherry red.
All right, the one after. So this beautiful Mustang, and he's sitting on the couch at home, and his mom says, "Could you move it?" And he's like, "I'm busy eating my dinner." He goes, "Well, I need it moved." So he throws her the keys and asks her to move it. Suddenly there's a giant crash, and this beautiful restored Mustang goes through the garage door, right?
Right.
And your mom drove it through the garage door.
Yep.
And your brother tells the story better than anyone else, but he says Brian's face went white and then orange and then red. And he was over the back of the couch screaming as he ran into the garage. And his mom said, "Well, you asked me to move it. I moved it."
I'm pretty sure whatever she asked him to do stuff, he jumped
Yeah.
after that.
After that, you didn't let her drive any of your cars, did you?
No, mind you, I was only 16, so
So how much trouble did it take you to repair that car after she'd driven it into the garage?
it wasn't bad. I think the garage cost more than the car to fix at the time.
Because your labor was free on the car, right?
Right.
And so you've had 3 Mustangs, but you restore a lot of cars. I mean, and I think with your son's also a mechanic as well, right?
He went to school to be a mechanic. He's actually pursuing another field right now, but yes.
But it's in his blood. It was definitely in your blood too. You've had a bunch of cars at home and through your youth that you actually pulled apart and put back together again. Didn't you?
Yep.
So where did he go to school? Because I think a lot of people don't know that there's places to go to school for automotive repair. And
I don't.
things
Did
like
you
that.
go to school, Brian, or you just
I did.
it in your garage all the time?
No, I started doing it when I was a kid, just watching my dad, and but I ended up going to Clackamas Community College, and I got a AA degree in automotive technologies. I ended up not going in that direction as a young man, going in another direction for 30 years or so, and come back now to the automotive industry, and so.
I will tell you that I have a lot of friends in the car business, and the best guys are the guys that have it in their blood, that did it just as a hobby, and then they turned their hobby into what they wanted to do. So Certified Automotive Repair in Salem. You can go to carsalem.com and get hold of Brian and the guys there. We'll hopefully stick around to the end of the show, but we're going to do some more stuff on the Land Rover, and maybe we can get you involved in that as well. You're listening to TestMiles. We're on FM News 101. It's a Memorial Day weekend. This is KXL's Car Show, and the whole team is going to be with you until 11 o'clock. We've got more car stuff coming up. Stick around.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
If you friend us on Facebook, we'll friend you right back, and on Twitter. With Facebook, I guess you just have to like us. I'm not. Yeah, I think I've liked us on Facebook.
Well, you don't have to like us, but you have to hit the like button.
Right, you have to like us. It's
Yeah, no, you
mandatory.
have- yeah,
It's a Memorial Day mandatory thing. Lots going on the show today. We've got a few more minutes to plow through some of the stuff. Thank you very much to Daryl from VW for being here, from Brian Sosha from Certified Automotive Repair in Salem, who has given the Land Rover Discovery 2 the once-over. We're still talking about other ideas that we can do with the vehicle. One of the things that I want to find someone to do, and if anybody knows out there, please get in touch with us, is to do, Anoli came up with the idea actually, was to do an air compressor that propels tennis balls out of the back for the dogs to chase.
There's got to be something out there. I think that I think it was Sean who mentioned like the guns that you use at like at the Blazer games. I mean, the technology is clearly out there. So
These are the guns to shoot T-shirts, right?
right, that's what I'm.
Yeah, because if you had real guns, you could throw them.
Clarify that, I guess. Yeah.
So maybe one of those could be modified, or one of the baseball propelling machines, something like that.
Look, there's probably a video on YouTube or somewhere on the internet of how we could make this.
If someone has an idea, please get in touch with us of things we could do to dogify this car to get it ready for the same sort of thing we do with SEMA vehicle. One of the other things we didn't quite have time to get to is talking about the GMC Yukon, which I drove, which I really love, by the way. 2015 Yukon SUV. Starts around $47,000. You can get up to around $65,000, which happens to be the one that I'm driving. 3.5-liter V8 engine. It has that cylinder management system, which is kind of cool, which it shuts off cylinder banks 1 and 3 when you're driving. So it goes down to 4 cylinders, which reduces a lot of gas usage. They've actually saved about 3 miles a gallon with using that system on there.
Why not 2 and 4?
It's just the way mechanics things work. If you're a
Fine.
mechanic, you'd
Because
know
they're
why
odd.
it's 1 and 3.
And odd numbers.
Ah, that makes a lot more sense.
No, it doesn't. You have
You
no
just
clue,
have
do
to
you?
give him an answer. Just give him an answer.
Yeah, because it's Sunday.
Oh, of course.
Okay, I get it.
It has that all-wheel drive system, 6-speed transmission, 355 horsepower, and 1623 as far as fuel economy is concerned. So, I mean, that's not bad for the vehicle. By the way, did you guys see the press release yesterday of the new Mini, the concept roadster? That
I've seen the pictures.
It's interesting that Mini coming out with something that looks close to Miata.
I can't do it. First of all, I don't think I can fit. Second of all, I like my favorite car is the Mini Clubman, and now I can't.
What is the first car we got you into as a press car 20-some years ago?
The-
was what?
The Mini.
Okay.
That was because of you, Brad, right?
The Mini.
And
Thanks,
you fit
Brad.
in it beautifully, didn't
I
you?
did, and I was way huger
So
then.
don't prejudge. What are you?
That's true.
You're prejudiced.
I am. I'm
You're car
prejudiced towards the
prejudiced.
Mini. Yes. What a horrible attitude to have on the Memorial Day weekend. I apologize, Mini.
There you go. We're looking at the modern Britishness meets Italian flair with this vehicle. Are we going to get pictures up at TestMiles?
They're already up.
So go to testmiles.com, have a look at this new Mini. It's kind of interesting. It's sort of an athletic beauty, sort of classic Italian body construction, and hand-shaped metal gives it a really nice sheet metal feeling on the outside. Very interesting. It doesn't look like a Mini, but it kind of does look like a Mini as well. I'm not really sure whether I like it or whether I hate it.
It
But,
looks like a stretched version of their little 2-seat roadster they have right now,
yeah, but
but a little more style to it.
yeah, it has sort of those flares around the lights and stuff, which is kind of very different, I think. So, interesting car. I guess we'll get to drive that probably in the next 2 years or so when they come out with it. What have you got plans today, Sean? What are you planning on doing?
I have no clue. Just probably yard work or hopefully a good
Great.
drive.
Way
but-
to celebrate our troops. Thanks,
I
Brad.
know.
What do you got going?
I'm going over to our friend's house and barbecue and consume.
Oh, Will and Kelsey.
Yes,
They're making a movie, aren't they?
they are.
It's called
The Pig Theory.
The Pig Theory.
It's going to be great. And then tomorrow I'm driving up to Timberline. I'm going to take one of the roads we didn't talk about up to the mountains. Take the kids to see a little bit more snow before it's totally gone.
Andy, what are you doing?
I'm celebrating Memorial Day by going to compete in a Magic the Gathering tournament right after the show.
We're done with that. Brian, what are you doing this? Are you having a barbecue at the house?
Oh, maybe. We actually picked up a motorhome yesterday that we had ordered, so we're gonna go do some shopping today.
Oh,
Get
motorhome
that
stuff.
sucker filled up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oli, what about you?
I don't have any idea. I have zero plans. I mean,
Just woke up, didn't you?
maybe barbecue, maybe yard work, maybe adult beverage, or maybe all three. I guess probably pretty good chances.
I'm going to go and hang out with a 1924 Bentley and go film that. That's my British celebrating Memorial Day. You know, we have Memorial in England too. Don't look at me like that.
Yeah.
Everyone's staring at me strangely.
How do you pronounce Memorial Day in British?
All right, goodbye. We've had a great show. Thanks for joining us on TestMiles this week. We'll be back again at 10 a.m. next Sunday morning. Sean just fell off his chair as we finish the show. Do not drink and be on the radio.
Why isn't this televised today?
We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for listening.
Throw it in neutral and coast in with TestMiles.com.